Thanks to the Twitter files and some good old common sense, you've known for quite some time now that big tech and big government have become quite cozy over the last several years, but turns out it's even more egregious than we thought.
When you got there and all of a sudden you own it and all the data on the service belongs to you. And
well, it belongs to the people in my view, but yes.
But you can see what it is, and you can see what they've been doing, and you can see who's been working there. You were shocked to find out that various intel agencies were affecting its operations?
The degree to which various government agencies had effectively had full access to everything that was going on Twitter blew my mind. I was not aware of that.
Would that include people's DMs?
Yes. Yes, because the DMs are not encrypted. So one of the things that we're about to release is the ability to encrypt your DMs.
That's pretty heavy duty, though, because a lot of well-known people, reporters talking to their sources, government officials, the richest people in the world, they're DMing each other.
Well, imagine that. Those government institutions that have repeatedly and emphatically told the American people they aren't biased, aren't censoring Americans, aren't snooping through our stuff, aren't targeting average and innocent people for no freaking reason. Well, lies, all lies. They were pillaging through our freaking DMs, for God's sake. Boy, can you imagine if former Twitter employees, at least I hope they have now been canned, and government officials who should also be canned, were as concerned with tracking and targeting child predators and pedophiles as they are mega conservatives who tweet about freedom and Donald Trump? But no, we are the threat, and not because we pose a legitimate threat, but because we don't fall in line with their lies, control, and their BS. Thank goodness we have Elon Musk at the wheel now over at Twitter, but my question and my real concern is, who is still at the wheel over at these various government agencies? Oh, and also, who is running this country from the shadows? Because it sure ain't Mr. Lick the World over there. All right, so the story of the baseball player's pregnant wife who was forced to pick up her toddler's popcorn off the floor of the plane has been making its rounds on the interwebs. After the incident occurred, Toronto Blue Jays pitcher Anthony Bass took to Twitter to blast United and the flight attendant for what he felt was an incredibly disrespectful and humiliating situation for his wife. And then the internet took over from there, with everyone from Barstool to the Daily Mail, even our own Fox News and OutKick writing about the incident, with a simple question. Should moms be forced to clean up after their kids on flights or in public places? The question is fair enough, but this story has been spun, taken out of context, and butchered, and since Anthony and Sydney Bass are friends of mine, I'm going to go ahead and set the record straight. Sydney is 22 weeks pregnant, and her pregnancy is high risk. She's a baseball wife, and in order to see her husband, she has the already incredibly challenging task of traveling almost weekly so the girls can see their dad and watch him work. Well, last weekend, her toddler, age 2, was given popcorn to keep her from screaming and disrupting other passengers, and because she's a freaking toddler, she spilled it. I'm sure every mom out there can relate, am I right? Well, then the flight attendant tapped her and told her the captain, yes, the pilot, wanted her, a pregnant woman, to get down on her hands and knees and pick up every last piece, which she did. And let's think about how humiliating that must have been to already have 2 kids under age 7 on a flight alone with no help, and then have to stoop down at the command of a flight attendant and pick up little pieces of popcorn off the ground. Well, turns out the pilot did not request this. It was the flight attendant who then claimed the popcorn was a hazard. Well, excuse me, but what kind of a miserable hag do you have to be to humiliate a pregnant mom like that in front of the entire plane over some frickin' popcorn? So to all those out there rushing to demean and reprimand Sydney Bass like she's some kind of a diva who didn't want to clean up after her kid, stop right there. My guess is the flight attendant was on a power trip and misses that extra authority once bestowed on her as mass police, and she decided to take out all of her hall monitor aspirations on a pregnant mom trying to wrangle 2 little kids on a flight. Oh, and for those who are criticizing her husband, Anthony, enough. What man wouldn't come to the defense of his pregnant wife after she was humiliated in front of a plane full of passengers by a salty flight attendant with a tood? That's what a man does, and a father does, and I'd expect both my dad and my husband to do the same thing, and they damn sure would. The Basses are some of the kindest, most generous, and selfless people I've ever met. They are godly, kind, and respectful. And I bet you didn't know that the daughter who spilled the popcorn is their adopted daughter. These people are literally the salt of the earth. To watch Sydney and Anthony be raked over the coals for this makes me sick. Do better and respect moms. They have a hard enough job.